do we expect to see in the next 6 to 12 months after this meeting? I mean, obviously the meeting in Greece was last year. Greece is not doing too good at the minute. So what should we expect to see in the next 6 to 12 months?
You should expect to see all these statesmen yapping about how the economic crisis is such that we need a World Treasury Department, the National Monetary Fund. That's been their goal for a long time anyway. They started exploiting the economic crisis a year ago to sell the idea that if we had a World Treasury Department, these things, global problems, these global solutions, we need rules that could be imposed, which means rules imposed on individual, one sovereign countries. You'll see that. Back up on the notes of it here. Much more yelling about climate change, which is a big phony thing. You'll read a lot about it in the American Free Press next week. The whole nattering about planet overheating has been totally discredited by climatologists and others. They were that first outrageous report about how we're all going to burn to death before the year 2050 because of the man-made heat waves. They had a number of climatologists who reviewed by, and they had to take their names off. They called it, said, "Yes, I reviewed it. I told you it's a bunch of, well, a vulgar reference to the excellent of forces. Told you a bunch of nonsense." So they had to pull those names off. Then they started making their own report. They asked Al Gore, who had said that the world temperature today is 10 degrees hotter on average, Fahrenheit. Well, the thermometer had not been invented in 1400, so how could he figure that out? Then he started rampaging, partly by what a Pulitzer Prize for his hysteria on the fiction of global warming. But the odd paradox there, he would fly in his own private jet, of course born to great wealth, fly his own private jet to tell everybody else to ride a bicycle. And they didn't have to fly to the scene of the crime and show up in 3 huge vehicles. In the hot weather, they'd sit outside waiting for him to make his global warming speech and tell everybody to ride a bicycle. They'd keep the motors running so the car would be nice and cool when Al Gore got back in. Or in the winter, not to keep cars running so it'd be nice and warm when he got back in. And he's telling the rest of us to ride a bicycle. Well, I don't celebrate his divorce, but I can understand it. Imagine being married to an airhead like that all those years.
He's getting divorced now, isn't he? Al Gore? Al Gore is getting divorced.
Yeah.
It
was in the newspapers.
Yeah, I think, well, one thing from me, and I can ask you a question because I just jumped in. I think everyone's anticipated about the agenda or a list of some description. Is that arrived, or we're still waiting on that?
There is a chance that the list will be pressured out by some of the major newspapers to address the issue. That has in the past scared them into producing a list. But all of us at the front gates are still identifying as many people as we can for 2 reasons. If we don't get their list, we'll at least have a long list of people we know who are there. And if they do provide the list, generally we'll have a name of people positively identified as there that's not on their list, even their own internal, not for publication list. So, watching the kids is a lot of fun and very valuable. That was the answer.
Fantastic. All right, I jumped in, so it was in.
Both of them say his brother never had a German accent. And while David Rockefeller's always been Mr. Rockefeller, he has the same PhD from the same Ivy League school as Dr. Henry Kissinger. So 2 years ago at a some kind of reception in Washington. Went over to Kissinger and that sweet little lady. Dr. Kissinger at the Bilderberg meeting, name of the town, and location, dates precisely. This man with long white hair in a black business suit said to you, I wrote it, read what he said to him, what was your response? He said, that was a private meeting. That was a private meeting. Catch him off guard, he forgets the fact the German accent, which he thinks distinguishes him some way. It does, but not in a becoming way. He'll always be Dr. Kissinger.
The weird thing about this car that I saw, I took a picture of it, obviously this camera's not very good, but I actually saw it with my own eyes. The lanyard said Gonzales. And
Gonzales?
Yes. And then there was a Spanish guy about 30 seconds later said he thought he just saw Felipe Gonzales. But this is the weird thing. He was driving the car.
That's happened.
That does happen, right? I just presume that they were all chauffeured in. And
most are. You say, Gonzales?
Yeah.
And his first name?
Felipe. He's the ex-president of Spain, is that correct?
He's what?
The ex-president of Spain, or the ex-prime minister of Spain? That's correct.
And you're sure that you saw that name on his...
I saw that with my own eyes. I mean, the camera didn't catch it, but I saw it because the surname was in big letters, whereas his first and middle name would have been small letters. But I saw that and I thought that was a bit strange that he was driving the car and there was nobody in the back. But if you say that that's not unusual, then...
Yeah, it is unusual. I remember another occasion that some big ass drove his own car to the Bilderberg site because he just liked it. But most of them prefer the pompousness of being in the big black limo, jumping out of a helicopter. Because that means you got to be important.